Good evening, everybody. My name is Yulia Stebnichuk. I'm the representative of the International Public Movements Politics 2.0, and we are making English language streams here on Instagram right now because of the fact that our YouTube channel has been banned by YouTube administration due to their internal censorship. After our stream devoted to war with Ukraine and the fact that it's likely to be not a war between Russia and Ukraine, but more like war between Russia and NATO. So that is why we moved here after this, the block of the channel, and YouTube even blocked, not just blocked, but they deleted channel of Father Afanasias, my spiritual father, who blessed our movement. So we see that YouTube has their internal censorship, and they really do block channels, and they delete the content which doesn't comply with the rules. So we moved here, and we're making videos here. And I'm making this short stream in English. I'm just a reminder that we in Politics 2.0 movement view all what is happening from the point of view of Politics 2.0 concept, which implies direct execution of power by citizens, which means a really, practical approach to what we see. We are not just analyzing in order to understand some laws or some, systematic problems. We are citizens, we are responsible citizens, and we want to know what is happening in order to know what we can do, how we can change, how we can influence the situation. So this video, this English language video, is one of the videos we launched to tell people from other countries about what is really happening in Russia and how things which are being told about Russia are really look from inside of our country. We are ready to share the information. We are ready to answer all the questions that you might have. Please leave them under this video on YouTube channel or under our posts in social networks. And let me just tell you once again, we are not officials. We are not any kind of journalists. We do not have some specific sources of information. We only use information which is published officially in media, in some kind of live journals or social networks, and we usually share the sources we have just because everybody should have access to this information. But with the blessing of Father Afanasias, who is the elder of Holy Mount Athos, we rely on Athonian principle of reasoning. So we analyze the information we have, we compare it to what we knew before, and thus we decide what we think and how the situation is likely to be developing. And if you have a look back at what we were saying at the very beginning of this COVID raging all over the world, we were pretty much close to what really happened. And especially to what has happened in Russia and post-Soviet countries. We come from Politics 2.0 public movements. The majority of the people among us live in post-Soviet countries, and we are Orthodox Christians, and thus we are reasoning from the point of view of Orthodox Christians. So this stream today will be devoted to the figure of Alexei Navalny. We've been discussing him a lot lately, and we see that his PR campaign is like on the rise. We see that more and more news and information is being published about him and how he suffers much in his imprisonment and what awful things are happening. And this kind of, parallels at this moment together with the situation with the Ukraine, when Russia is being depicted as this kind of empire of evil, which is likely to attack the country of freedom of Ukraine, which is being supported of all the democratic and the liberal world, and Russia is, stands on this tyrannical positions and is likely to attack. And this all together with information about Alexei Navalny being tortured in prison, and with this information about Russia being ready to attack Ukraine, builds this general image of this awful country, this empire of evil Russia. So let me speak about Navalny precisely because how the situation looks from inside of Russia really differs from what it is being presented to outside audiences. And what we actually see right now is likely to be a PR campaign addressed more to foreign audiences, to people not from inside of Russia, and even likely not to the people right now, but more building his some background for him in order to skyrocket his political career as a new Mandela for Russia. So he's likely to be a new Mandela, and to be a Mandela, you have to serve your time in prison. And that's exactly what is happening right now, and that is why we have all this evidence, so-called evidence, published by his allies who say that he is being tortured, he's on a hunger strike, and they do not let a doctor in, and so on. When we in Russia actually have footage, the footage of how he actually lives in prison right now. And this is a shocking information indeed, because, well, I'm not sure how things are in other countries, but we in Russia, actually, due to this Soviet background and this Gulag and all things that happened in Russia, we do have kind of, connection to all this prison history, prison culture, information about how things are in prison. It's not because all of us have ever been to prison. It's not because we all have relations who have been to prison, but it's just like a part of our history, and it's part of our internal life, and things that we kind of grew into culture, into our language, into our just normal life that we lead. And thus, there are a lot of things we just understand just because it's just a part of our life and our culture. So we have this footage of Navalny. I'm not sure if this footage is available in other countries, because this Navalny team challenged publishing this footage in the media, saying that Navalny never gave his agreement for this information to be published, which means that this information is true. They do acknowledge that this is Navalny depicted there, and they do say that that is how he actually lives right now in prison, but they say it has been published without his consent, and that is why it is to be deleted. So it's likely that they will win this case, and this information will be deleted from the official media, and from all kind of news agencies and official sources, and it's likely that foreign audiences, people from other countries, not from Russia, will never see what things really are in Russia and how Navalny really lived there. But we have this video, we can discuss. So the prison that Navalny is taken to right now is a specific prison which has been built for a policeman to serve their sentence there, to serve their time there, because they had to keep away the criminals and the policemen and militiamen criminals apart from each other, not to provoke the conflicts. So this particular prison Navalny is taken to is actually a prison specifically created for policemen, for all those, law enforcement agencies and the violators of law from inside of those organizations. In fact, when a regular criminal, not from policemen, not from the prosecutor's office, not from Federal Security Service, if a normal criminal is taken to such a prison, he is normally taken there to be, as it is called here in Russia, broken, to break his personality, to force him to to stop doing what he has been doing, to force him to cooperate, because he cannot find any support among all those people there. There are only, former policemen there. There's no normal criminals there. But for Navalny, what they actually did for Navalny there, they actually freed all these prisons. So we see huge halls. Normally, these halls... it's being inhabited by 120 people, and now we see Navalny as the only one being in this huge building and this huge room, with a couple of people who are doing things for him, assisting him. We see Navalny, they publish the information that he has problems with his spine, he has problems with his legs, he has problems with the arms, and so on. But we see this footage, and it's available. We've saved this, downloaded and saved this. He's just normally walking around. He's okay. His legs are okay. His spine is okay. But not only he's walking around. He's the only one there, and he has all the people, all those who work for this penitentiary system. Those who are officers of this system. We see them talking to him as he's the boss there. So the situation, actually, if you, we unfortunately, we do have this problem with imprisonment in Russia. We do have this problem that the number of people being taken to prison for some minor crimes is really huge. So there is a lot of information how really things are in prison right now for a person, for a businessman who committed some crime with tax or something, who is accused of some other crime of stealing something or I don't know, something like that. So what we see right now with Navalny is the condition that nobody can enjoy, in fact. Is specifically created for him like a resort, the situation where he can just freely sleep with his mask on, nobody around to bother him, all those officers are like talking to him like he's the boss. And this is but it's something you do not see from other countries. It's something which we have in Russia, in fact, but you are not likely to see it in other countries. So what we see is actually with this PR campaign, with this information about his suffering and hunger strike and all that, is that this figure of future Mandela for Russia is being created. And speaking about Nelson Mandela and his past, just look at South African Republic. What really happened to the Republic after Mandela? What's happened to the economy to white people of South African Republic after Mandela? And that is what they want to do with Russia. That is why they're creating this PR for this image of Russian Mandela for Alexei Navalny. And that is how it works, because you do not have the information we have in Russia, you do not have this informational background, but they do build it. And it looks really crazy. It looks like some, delirium from inside of Russia, because that's not how it happens. If somebody wants to take a person to prison to break a person's character, it doesn't happen like that. Then the person is really broken, and he's likely to be sexually assaulted, he's likely to be physically assaulted, and he's mentally somehow oppressed by officers and by the people around him. And the fact that a normal criminal is being placed in a place among a former policemen, it really creates this conflict when all the policemen stand against this normal criminal, and that's how he's broken, in fact, because nobody will tell anything, because they're policemen and he's not. And that's not what is happening with Navalny. They have created specific conditions for him, and they have this information of him being in prison because there has been discussion before that. I mean, it has been on for some time. Like when we hear about all those politicians and some people, famous people, go into prison, we do not know how do they spend their time there, because we know there are some specific prisons for those VIP, prisoners who serve their time there with specific, VIP comfortable conditions. We do not know the detail, and they never provide the detail. But we just can guess, if we compare them looking after their time, how they look fit, with and healthy, with other people who leave prison, and how they actually look exhausted and, very, very weak. So that's why we've been thinking that there is some specific place for those VIP prisoners. But with Navalny, we actually have this footage of him in this VIP conditions, with all the room for himself, all the officers talking to him like he's the boss, and he's giving commands and all that. Now we see that Navalny team actually started their activity here, and they started initiated a meeting, some protest action on April 21st. April 21st is likely to be the date when Putin announces his message to the Federal Council. This is why this is one of the two constitutional duties of the President of Russia, to deliver his messages to the Federal Council. It is considered to be a very important thing, because this is something a president is to do, and this is something where president reports on the results of the previous year, and is likely to announce the program and some basic ideas for the next year. And considering the specifics of Russia with this presidential very serious influence of the president and his team on things which are happening, this vertical structure that we have, which is anti-constitutional, but again, this date is very important. This messages, this delivery date is the date of delivery of these messages is really important, and people are looking forward because it has to do with the situation with the Ukraine, whether the war will be announced or not, how Putin will react. It has to do with the sanctions and the relations with the United States. It has to do with the elections, because there are rumors that elections may take place not on the date they are supposed to, or in September, but elections may take place later due to war with Ukraine or to some other reason, or not. So although the political system actually is looking for this message, not the nation, not the people, not the citizens, but the political system. But the citizens are actually also a bit involved into that, because in case something happens with Ukraine, in case war actually begins, this will affect everybody. This will affect our country in general. So, and Navalny team announced their protest meeting scheduled for the same day as this message of president's message. What is likely to happen? It's not likely that they will collect a lot of people. They will attract a lot of people on the streets. No, it's not like this, because not a lot of people actually support Navalny, and not a lot of people are ready to do something for Navalny, and they do not have any any program, something to fight for. That do not offer anything. But considering this message and considering the attention of the media, especially, and not only the Russian media, but also of the foreign media, it is likely that there will be more police control in the streets, and these meetings will not be sanctioned, will not be supported by the administrations, because according to the Russian law, if you want to hold a street meeting, you are allowed to, but you have to have the kind of approval from the administration of the city, of the region where you want to hold your meeting. So it's likely not to be approved by the administration, so the meetings will be violations of law by themselves, because they will be held without the approval. And it's likely with all those media present in Moscow and maybe in St. Petersburg, and controlling what is happening with Putin and all that, these protest meetings are likely to be, prosecuted by the police, stopped by the police, with footages made by foreign media. And that is likely to make this picture of a cruel Russian country, which is, oppressing all those people who are for Navalny, and this picture of this empire of evil Russia, which is attacking. And this is not Russia, which is something which is very important to understand. This is not about Russia, how Russia is awful. This is about the regime. The regime right now, Putin personally, and the team that is together with him right now, what they want is to break Russia into war. They want Russia to fall down into pieces, to fall into war, so that all the people would be, just busy surviving somehow, and with this skyrocketing of crimes and all that. And this is not Russia, not the people who want this. This is the regime who wants this. So we see that the Kremlin team plays together with Navalny team, and creating the same situation, the situation, the background for Navalny to appear as the new leader, not for Russia, but more for foreign audiences, to support him, to say that this is the leader supported by those, countries, democratic countries, democratic regimes like the United States and others. We see that Germany plays a very important role in that, and they do build Navalny's image for Germany. But that's how the situation looks from inside of Russia right now. We will be streaming further on in English, and we'll be providing more information on how things look from inside of Russia. We'll be streaming here in Instagram, because our YouTube channel are banned, as I've already mentioned. So please stay tuned. We'll go live again and give you more detail of how things are in Russia. Thank you very much for your attention, and goodbye.